everybody, I'm Ryan. Today we're going to talk about how to beat mid-range decks. What the best type of cards you should be using against them, what strategies you should have in your own deck if you're concerned about mid-range decks, and what mid-range decks are and what are they trying to do. Let's start with that one. Mid-range decks are decks that try to survive the early game and then in the middle of the game play extremely powerful cards that are difficult to deal with. Over the course of the game, they seek to one-for-one you, sometimes take things out of your hand with cards like Thoughtseize, especially cards that are good against them, play creatures that are difficult to deal with and very powerful that often do more than one thing, and kill you in the middle of the game. Over the course of the game, they try to get card advantage on you, normally not by drawing cards like control decks, but by playing cards that are really efficient for their mana cost, or that naturally 2-for-1. And so there's a few different ways that we can battle these mid-range decks. First off is playing value cards. Play cards that have advantage already written on the card, especially card advantage. Meet mid-range where they are at by playing cards like Fable of the Mirror Breaker, or way back when, there was an old Black Devotion mirror that would always happen with mid-range decks playing against each other, and the card Underworld Connections was disgusting in that mirror, where you could just like every turn draw a card. It's really important to try to keep up with their card advantage while not relying on things just like playing out the right way, which includes trying to set up as many 2-for-1s as possible. Because they're trying to grind you down, play their cards more efficiently than you, and then they end up with more powerful, better cards in the late mid-game. For control decks, this means board wipes. If you can kill 2 or 3 creatures with one card, that puts you out ahead of these mid-range decks. This could mean cards that draw multiple cards to put you out ahead of their cards. Or this could be difficult to deal with creatures like Thragtusk or Thrun that leave a body behind even after a removal spell. If something is difficult to deal with, often the mid-range deck is forced to 2-for-1 themselves, which is exactly what you want. Another strategy is mid-range decks are built to answer everything that you are doing. And so if you can sideboard in a way or even build your deck in a way that blanks most of the cards in their deck, then they have a better chance of drawing air and then you catching up on their mid-range plan. So Control does this in a really cool way. In the main deck, often Control decks, especially in Pioneer, have 0 creatures. And so they have many cards in their deck that just do nothing, which gives Control a giant advantage in game 1. And then in game 2 or 3, the mid-range decks have to sort of decide whether they want to side out of their removal or not. If they don't side out of their removal, maybe the Control deck will bring in a powerful creature out of the sideboard, like Lyra. But then if they do leave in their removal and then your opponent doesn't see Lyra, you have dead cards in your hand. And so just making the cards in your opponent's deck do nothing is extremely powerful. And then I feel like this is a strategy for just every deck. Go under them. There's nothing wrong with playing aggro. One of mid-range decks' biggest weakness is that they need to weather the storm of the early game. Don't let them. Just kill them as fast as possible. Now, this is harder against the black mid-range decks because they have really efficient removal. But if you can kill them before they can set up their super powerful cards, it's sort of the same thing as a control player not playing creatures in the main deck. If you attempt to kill them really, really early on, it makes their powerful mid-range creatures kind of just do nothing because they're unable to play them because they need to be casting their removal spells on your aggro. So that's always a strategy against decks that you don't think you can beat. Just go under. Hopefully this was helpful in dealing with mid-range decks. Mid-range is a tough deck and strategy to beat. It's being able to answer everything you're doing. You need to kind of often take weird routes in order to beat these mid-range decks. But if you like this video nonetheless, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social medias. Links are above me and in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.